Girls with their nails done now.
This episode of HTM Tech is brought to you by Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy offers a wide range of products including energy drinks and dietary supplements containing zero sugar, 0 to 5 calories, B vitamins, gluten-free, soy-free, and 100% vegan. Rogue Energy products are a great alternative to those corner store energy drinks that are loaded with sugar and cause you to crash soon after. Head over to rogueenergy.com where viewers of HTM Tech can get 10% off any order placed. Not just your first order, but any time you order. Just use offer code HTM Tech at the checkout to get your discount on one of the hottest energy drink brands on the market. Hey, don't take our word for it. Try it for yourself today.
Hey guys, Joe the Tech Guy here with another episode here this week. For those of you who have liked and subscribed to the channel, thank you very much. For those of you who have not yet, make sure you hit like on the video and hit subscribe and ring that bell notification so that you can get notified whenever I get new content out there for you guys so you can watch it as soon as possible. Alright, this week I have something a little bit here different for you guys. You guys have kind of asked for this, so we're talking kind of tech tips and troubleshooting. Over my years, I've done a fair amount of this for work and just kind of in general, being somebody who's fairly knowledgeable about technology. I get asked all the time about tips and people having issues and fixing problems with technology, and that kind of stuff just kind of comes with the territory. So I thought I'd hit on about 10 things on with this episode here. First thing I'm going to start off with here is keeping your devices up to date. Very, very important. When I'm talking about keeping them up to date, I'm talking about the operating systems on these devices, whether it be your phone, your tablet, your computer, or what have you. Make sure you're always downloading updates. They are always beneficial. Sometimes there can be bugs with updates, but they're still important, especially the security aspect of these updates, because when it comes to doing banking and kind of personally sensitive things on our devices, it's very, very important that you have the latest of these, so you're protected from malware, viruses, and known issues. It's very, very important. So a good way to take care of this, and it'll result in you even not really having to think about it, is just go into your settings on your device and hit auto update. And then it's just basically done automatically. You'll kind of get a notification, hey, you know what, there's an update to download. Set that to update right now or later in the evening or in a future time. Just set auto update and make your life a lot easier and keep yourself secure. Very, very important. Number 2, kind of in that same vein, use strong password. I can't stress this enough. Do not use 1234 or password or the name of your pet or the name of your significant other or your name. Pick a strong password. There's all these electronic devices have really good ways to manage your passwords. So if you want to pick something that's nonsensical or just a random assortment of letters and numbers, it'll be saved in your settings and whatnot. Write them down, but put them in a secure place as well. It's the type of thing where it's really, really important to have a good, strong, safe password that somebody can't guess. So that a family member that maybe you don't want to get into your things, or hackers or people looking to get into your stuff. You hear about people getting their Facebook account hacked and that kind of stuff all the time. Just choose something that cannot be guessed, or it's very, very difficult to guess. Another good way to go kind of about this there are a lot of applications that you can get, like LastPass, OnePass, these kind of password managers where it just kind of keeps track, and when you log in, it just knows to use the password that you need. So another good option there. But like I said, use strong password. It is very, very important to keep yourself safe and secure and keep your devices running the way they should be. Now, speaking of devices, another thing that is very, very important when it comes to charging our devices, these kind of things here. Charging blocks, chargers, whatever you want to call them. Be very, very careful that you're using the correct charger for the correct device. This may seem like a no-brainer to some people. I see it all the time. People are either using something that charges too much or too little. What can happen here is that if you are charging with too high of wattage, it can result in actually the battery, like especially like in a cell phone or something like that, can result in it getting hot to the touch, which means that the battery is not being used efficiently. And if you're using something that doesn't charge enough, the device is trying to pull more to get the wattage that it needs to charge ideally, and that will also create heat and will damage your battery and or your device. And if you've ever been to a cell phone store or something like that where these things are plugged in all the time, you see the batteries kind of swell. It's part of the issue. Another tip there too, don't leave your devices plugged in constantly. That is also very, very bad for the battery. But yeah, very, very important to make sure that you're using the correct charging setup for the correct device. Very, very important, so that these devices will last as long as they possibly can for you. And in that same kind of vein as well, another one briefly, when it comes to charging setups and cords, don't get too long of a cord. I know people are very tempted to get like 6 foot and 10 foot and possibly longer charging cords. People tend to use their devices plugged in a lot more when they have a longer cord. They'll typically like plug it in the wall and then use it while they're in bed or something like that. That can result in the cord getting really damaged very, very quickly, because then the cords will bend and kind of fray in this area from trying to use the device while it's plugged in. And just getting a good quality cord is very, very important as well. Don't cheap out on charging cords. Get a good quality cord, because they will last longer and it will actually save you money in the long term, as opposed to buying a bunch of cheap cords multiple times a year. Buy one cord that's going to last you multiple years. It's just a good idea. Like I said, just make sure that you're using the correct charging setup, because you can damage the devices and you can damage the cords if you don't do it properly. So it's very, very important. Now, another thing that I want to kind of touch on here as well, if you use your phone a lot, and if you have kind of like bigger hands like I kind of do, because I run into issues with this occasionally and I forget that I have this as an option. When it comes to sending text, if you're bad at typing with your thumbs like I am, a lot of these devices, especially mine, iPhone 14 Pro, has dictation available. A technology that wasn't great at the beginning, but has gotten much, much better on these newer devices. If you have a hard time typing on your phone, try dictation. It works really, really well, and it's a quick way to kind of just get your point across and get that sent off. It's a feature on your device, so I say make use of it, because it works really, really, really well. Very highly recommend it. Another kind of a security thing here, when it comes to, we all get these to a certain extent, unsolicited emails from people you don't know, or places that aren't banks claiming to be banks, or places claiming that you owe them money when you do not. When you get these emails, there's always a little option there to unsubscribe. I don't recommend doing that. I actually just recommend flat out just blocking the sender of that email, because what can happen with unsubscribing is they make it nice and easy to do that, but there can also be some hidden viruses and malware when you press unsubscribe, because a lot of times it'll take you to another page, and then that's what will kind of trigger the malware or the issues. So better to just block those emails that you don't recognize and just be done with them. And then so there's no chance of you opening up anything by accident and resulting in damage, especially to the software of your device. So make sure and just block those emails that you don't recognize and just be done with it. All right, so last thing here for this week, a specific question from a viewer, Derek. He was having issues, so he plays The Sims 3, which is a bit of an older game. I believe it launched like in 2008, 2009, getting a bit of an older game. He's running it on a custom build Windows 10 PC, and there was a recent update or some additional content for the game that became available, and went to go install and use it. Game no longer works. So essentially what's kind of happening here is when we're trying to run the issues, there's a few things going on here. So you're trying to run an older game on a newer computer with a newer operating system when it's actually intended for something a little bit less, probably like Windows 7, Windows 8, maybe even something a little bit older. And what kind of happens here, especially with custom-built PCs, that when updates, drivers, and those kind of things happen, essentially what's happening here is, while custom-built PCs can be very, very cool and very, very powerful, what's happening here is you're having multiple components built by different companies and bringing it all together and getting them to try and speak the same language when they're speaking different dialects. That's one of the big benefits to buying just an out-of-the-box computer, is that you don't have to worry about components and stuff like that conflicting or having issues when drivers and updates kind of happen. So essentially that's kind of what's going on here. The issues he's having is this new update just isn't working for him, or the game itself has just become too old for current things. So it just may get to the point, unfortunately, where, for Sims 3, he just may no longer be able to play it. It's unfortunate. Maybe if you can get a computer running a bit of an older operating system, it will run much smoother. Yeah, I would recommend him just get maybe something, see if you can roll back to an older version of Windows. That might be easier said than done. Unfortunately, it just may mean that you can just no longer play The Sims 3 on that computer. Alright guys, that about wraps it up here for this week. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to those who do submit some questions and tech tips. Very much appreciated. And I will see you on the next one. HTM Tech is brought to you by Microplay. Located at 265 Kingsburg Road in Brantford, Ontario, Canada, for all of your video game and collectible needs. The girls with their nails done now. Girls with their